Dodgers and the Brewers. It's Game 5 this afternoon on a warm, beautiful day at Dodger Stadium. Series tied 2-2. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck along with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. It was a late, tense game last night. And now we're right back at it today. And for the Dodgers, it's all about Clayton Kershaw. He was not good in game one. He had the short start. And when that happened, he starts to hear whispers about all the postseason trouble that he's had. A career 500 pitcher during the postseason. How does he bounce back with a better effort in this game?
Well, I think it starts with patience, and it really was going to be the patience of this series going long for the Dodgers to be successful. Well, for Clayton Kershaw, it's in-game adjustments. He's got to have a better slider, and he's got to utilize his curveball. But based on experience, after only 4 innings or less, look at these numbers. This is a true champion that knows how to adjust. He knows what the pressure is going into this game. You can't get caught up with giving up runs early. You realize the most important asset you are to this team today is to deliver innings, quality innings, and depth in this game so you can give your team a chance to win.
Craig Counsell told us before this game, we always knew that Game 5 was going to be difficult for us because of their use of the bullpen, all those arms coming in, and it's the end of 3 straight days of baseball. It's an opportunity, though, on the other hand, if they can steal this game, go back home up 3-2, that's a big opportunity. So now it's Wade Miley for the first time in his Major League Baseball career pitching on short rest. Man, he was good in game 2.
He's a new guy. He's a loose guy. This doesn't bother him at all. He developed a cutter last year that saved his career, if you would say. And I think all he did was pitch to each side of the corner, and he frustrated the Dodgers lineup. Look, there's no thing other than keeping the left-handers of the Dodgers at bay, and that's what he's done. You see the numbers on the game that he pitched. I think for Wade Miley, it's the theme of the Milwaukee Brewers. Loose, confident, and go back up 3-2.
Well, we're loose and confident, getting ready for baseball here today. And, well, as I said at the top, for the Dodgers, it's Clayton Kershaw. I feel like we've been here before, where the Dodgers need a good one from their veteran left-hander. the Google Assistant on FS1. Over 80 degrees last night as the temperature was dropping. The hour was getting later. That by Manny Machado at first base with Jesus Aguilar clipping his ankle. Thank goodness. Aguilar was okay after the base hit. Machado would eventually score the game-winning run in the 13th, but it seemed like those two put that matter to bed. How about for the rest of this Brewer team? For more on that, down to Tom Verducci.
Well, thanks, Joe. You know, Christian Yelich has stepped up for the Brewers all year, and he did it again after Game 4, calling that play at first base with Machado, quote, a dirty play by a dirty player. Today, MLB fined Machado for his actions, and Yelich did not back down. He told me something had to be said. It was that bad. When I asked him if there would be any carryover today, he said, well, it's the postseason, but baseball has a way of taking care of these things at some point. For more on Machado, here's Ken Rosenthal.
Tom, the amount of Machado's fine was undisclosed, but it clearly indicates that baseball viewed his actions as inappropriate at some level. Dave Roberts spoke with Machado during batting practice, wanting to give the player a chance to express himself. Roberts kept his own message positive, telling Machado, just keep playing to win. Now, on the question of retribution, sure, it's Game 5 of the NLCS, but Wade Miley's cutter breaks in on righties, and depending upon the score and inning, it's not out of the question that Miley might go too far in, and based upon everything we've seen, it's not out of the question that Machado might overreact.
Guys, thank you. Just so the viewers know, there have been no warnings issued to the two sides prior to the start of this game. That can happen during the regular season. It would be extraordinary for that to happen during the postseason. That hasn't happened. But there is some bad blood and there is some tension that has been added because of what Machado did last night in the 10th. Here's the Brewers lineup. Kane, Yelich, Braun. Same top three every game. Aguilar, Perez, and Moustakas in the middle. On the back end, it's Kratz, Arcia, and Wade Miley, who had 2 hits back in Game 2. In Game 1, Clayton Kershaw went 3, got into the 4th. So that was it. 4 earned runs, 5 total on 6 hits. A strike over the outside corner to start the day against Lorenzo Cain.
Well, the Milwaukee Brewers were pretty aggressive early against Clayton Kershaw and fouled off a lot of pitches. And I would think that that pitch right there has to be much better. The curve, the slider for Clayton Kershaw was not very good in his previous matchup. That's why the Brewers took advantage of it. And I would think that the curveball could be a big part of his repertoire tonight in this game.
Here's a 1-1. He went around Cain, who has struggled now in this series. 4 for 20. And the 1-2 hitters at the top, which you see includes Yelich, 7 for 36, under 200, no runs batted in. 1-2. And just on the heels of Tom Verducci's report with regard to Christian Yelich, the more I see of him, the more you get around him, the more you understand what he did verbally after the game last night, not backing down, the more you love the guy. 1-2 pitch. 2-2. He's a leader. He's a young guy. He's signed to a team-friendly deal. He can hit, he can run. He's shown that he'll bunt if you give him the left side of the infield. There's just really nothing not to like.
Plays the game and has a blast at the same time.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Cain hooks one foul down the left field line. Home plate umpire. And we may be talking about these guys if something does occur along the lines of a hit batsman. Jim Wolf behind the plate. Brian Gorman at first. Greg Gibson at second. Alan Porter is over at third. The crew chief is Jerry Davis in left. In right, Hunter Wendelstedt had the long night behind the plate. That's into center, and that's a base hit. Picked up on a short hop by Bellinger, and Cain is on to start the game for Milwaukee. Bellinger made, you could call it, a game-saving catch on a ball that was hit by Cain into right last night, and here he ends up getting it on a short hop for a leadoff hit.
But that again is a testimony to Kane's ability to just kind of serve it out in the field of action, and he gets rewarded. It wasn't the all-out swing and assault that we see.
The Dodgers are going to ask the crew to look at this. It hits in the outside part of the glove.
Under review.
The question is, you see the bounce in there, but is the webbing of the glove underneath? Wow. I mean, you see a bounce clearly. You could see that from up here, but is the webbing of that black glove under the ball? That might be entirely inside the glove, even with the bounce, which would be a catch.
Yes, it would. This Cody Bellinger is quite an athlete to be playing multiple positions, and
I don't know.
Great defense.
You know, you always go back. I don't care if you're talking football or baseball on, is there irrefutable evidence to overturn the call? The call on the field was a base hit, that it was trapped, and that is confirmed with replay. But I think worth a look by the Dodgers.
So in a game like today, with all that took place yesterday, this will be a game of patience, a test of patience for Clayton Kershaw, for his team, and the same thing on the other side, because things might not go perfectly right away, and you would expect a game like today to have a few more runs than we've seen in this first 4 games of the series.
Batter now is Yelich, with Kane at first, and a foul. By the way, our replay review powered by Mitel. And so a challenge is gone for Dave Roberts. You get an extra one in the postseason. He has one left, and when you get into the late innings, 7th inning on, really anything can be reviewed. A hold against Kane, who stole 30 during the regular season. This one will be routine for Bellinger as he fights the sun. 1 on, 1 out, and Yelich is 3 for 17 in this NLCS. There is not a cloud to be found. So it's tough now for these outfielders as the shadows start to creep. As we get later in the game, it's going to be tougher and tougher for the hitters.
Yeah, especially the high, maybe to right field type fly ball. Here's the guy that has had some great at bats lately. Braun is starting to heat up for the Brewers lineup, which they desperately need to get going again. Both these teams have been pitched tough, effective, and these stats are starting to show the pitchers are winning out.
5 hits in this LCS. Runner goes. Good jump. Throw by Barnes. Out as the tag stayed on his arm. And he may be arguing that Muncy pushed him off the bag. And Craig Counsell's going to come out and argue.
Yeah, Kane, I think by the initial look, looked like he was safe and couldn't hang on to the bag, and he's complaining that Muncy's tag would have pushed the arm off or the hand off the bag. There's the slide in, and then momentum just could not keep him on the bag. Safe initially, keep the tag, and then out.
And there's nothing in the way of Muncy shoving his hand off the bag. He just kind of glided across that top layer on this infield, and he kind of hydroplaned past the bag. Good job by Muncy, who's getting his first start this postseason at second base, to keep the tag there.
Craig Counsell on his way back was checking in with the dugout. Yes or no? Yes or no? Do we challenge it? And they gave him the no sign.
So 2 out, nobody on, and the batter will be Ryan Braun, and Kane is hot on an 82-degree day, but he had the base stolen and couldn't stay on. That's outside. Count goes to 2-0 on Braun.
A little different than Ken Herbeck in 1991. Okay, I should let that go. Should I let that go?
Let it go.
All right, it's gone.
Let all that stuff go, John. Life's too short. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Braun grounds it foul. The numbers are stunning for Kershaw when you consider how good he is and how in this era with all this offense in the regular season, see the record and the winning percentage here at Dodger Stadium. ERA just over 2. In the postseason here at home, 3-3 with an ERA up over 4. Highest regular season winning percentage in the history, 57-year history now of Dodger Stadium as the count evens 2-2 on Braun.
Well, that pitch right there was more vintage slider for Kershaw. Did not see many of those in Milwaukee.
Struck him out, and Kershaw faces only 3. After a half, no score in Game 5. Much different looking. Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, David Freese, the top 3. Manny Machado, Max Muncy at second base in this game. Chris Taylor is out in left, batting 6th. Kike Hernandez still gets the start, but it's in right. And Austin Barnes does the catching with Clayton Kershaw, who can handle the bat, batting 9th.
Well, Wade Miley's cutter caused Dave Roberts to make some changes because you can't just load up right-handers, and now those changes allow Muncy to stay in once he moves over to first base, given some pitching changes.
Bellinger, who had the game-winning hit last night, also, as I referenced earlier, made that outstanding catch in right center to Rob Kane in the 10th inning. Second time in his very young career, he's the reigning NL Rookie of the Year to hit leadoff. Did it April of last year. That's a strike from Miley.
That side right there, imagine that right-hander being over, going to be just as important. The corners, that's where Miley wants. He doesn't want middle. He'll pitch in, out, change speeds.
3-1. Miley was so good, really, on the mound and even at the plate. He didn't walk anybody in 5 2/3 that day. He's now walked 1. Here's what he did in game 2. He gave a total of 2 hits. He played good defense. He had a couple of hits. And tipped his cap. I have no idea what just happened. Woodruff was up while Miley was getting loose. I've never seen this. Miley gives up a leadoff walk, and they took him out.
My mic works. I'm trying to process. I'm just trying to process it. I'll get back to you.
I've heard of going to your bullpen early. Can you hook anybody closer? Maybe when he gets to the parking lot? Back after this. Well, there's a lot behind this move. No injury. This is just the approach by the Brewers today. Let's go down to the field and Tom Verducci.
Yeah, Joe, I guess this is Brewers baseball, right? Expect the unexpected. You know, Craig Counsell did this September 24th. He had left-handed reliever Dan Jennings pitch to Matt Carpenter, the left-handed leadoff batter for the Cardinals, and then brought in a right-handed reliever. In this scenario, he's got Woodruff now facing 6 of the next 8 hitters are right-handed. The lineup was set up for Miley. And remember, too, Miley had never made a start on short rest. And now he's lined up on full rest for a game 6.
Well, I can't wait to get your opinion on this. So it's been done, and as Tom said, September 24th, that was a 6-4 win in St. Louis. And that started what ended up being the 12-game win streak and free burgers for everyone. But this seems like next level stuff here.
Well, like I said in the beginning, before this series started, the Milwaukee Brewers are going to expect chaos. They want chaos to win this series, so that means exactly what we're seeing.
Bellinger takes off, had a decent jump, and steals second.
But I think what's interesting about all of this, I don't think Dave Roberts totally bought in either, and his lineup reflects a little bit of a different change towards the time spent in the game for Wade Miley. So in theory, right, makes sense. You're going to have him pitch game 6. But from a mindset and from all the things that go on in this game, you just wonder how guys react to it. How bought in are they? And obviously the Milwaukee Brewers have been bought in from the last 2-3 weeks of the season till now.
So Miley faces one hitter. He's a left-handed leadoff hitter. And now we're going to see another replay review on that play at second base and see if the hand got in. The Brewers think he was out.
As the ball, the field is
I don't think the ball quite got to the glove. It was a great throw on the money. But watch when the ball kind of short hops and then gets to the point. Well, you know what? You know what? If nothing else, we've got action here in the first inning. We didn't have much action last night. It was an exciting, I guess, game that went long, 1-1, ended up being 2-1.
A replay review is powered by Mitel. We've seen 2 challenges, actually 3, and a pitching change. And safe is the call. There was I guess there was no challenge with regard to the Lorenzo Cain stolen base, but he was saying that he was pushed off the back by the glove of Muncy. Word from baseball is that has to be called and determined by the umpire out there, as opposed to going to some sort of replay review. Runner at second with nobody out, 0-1 the count on Turner, and this has the oddest feel to a start of any postseason game I can remember.
Yeah, so let me finish the thought real quick. From a starter's mindset, he knows when he goes and prepares for a game, he's going to pitch deep into the game. Okay, that's just the general rule of what you're thinking.
Here's the 0-1 from Woodruff.
So for Miley, he started a game today to face 1 hitter. So how much are you into it? How much are you grinding, knowing you're going to pitch in game 6? Could that 1 hitter effectively cost you a game, or all these different things? So it's just 1 hitter he's facing. Physically, that's not going to be an issue for him in game 6, if indeed that's the plan, which looks like it is. Mentally, for today, getting ready, that would have been an intriguing challenge.
1 ball, 1 strike. Turner takes down. So Brandon Woodruff was one of the stars of game 1, the game that Kershaw pitched. He took Kershaw deep with a home run to one of the deeper parts of the park, right side of center field, with a 400+ foot home run. But now he's into the game in the first inning, in essence making the start. Here's a 2-1.
But then you got to take into consideration his preparation.
Yeah, right? For both guys. I mean, what you're saying is Miley is getting ready to pitch this game, and he knows before he goes out there he's facing 1 hitter.
Right. It's a total different mindset. It really is. It's not that he wasn't trying to get him out, but you're not. And then for Woodruff, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm kind of preparing to start. Did I get my proper? There's a lot of things to take in, and obviously each player knew it, so it's not a surprise to them.
3-1 now, the count on Turner. And he gets hit. While Turner, and he never looked back out at Woodruff after he just got plunked on that 3-1 pitch. Obviously there's some bad blood now after the Machado act at first base last night, something he was fined for. But this riding fastball catches Turner on the backside, and it puts 2 on with nobody out and brings David Freese to the plate. Strike 1. This is really the one guy that gets the start, because the left-hander Miley is getting the ball to begin the game for Milwaukee. You could say Puig, but because Dave Roberts moved Muncy to second base, he's got Kike Hernandez in the lineup. He started Bellinger in the game against the lefty. Muncy gets the start. That's foul. Ken Rosenthal, I know you want to chime in on what we've seen so far.
Well, Joe, first off, this is officially the plan. The Brewers will announce after this game that Wade Miley will start game 6. Now, I know this whole scenario looks really unusual to people who might not have been following baseball all season, but teams have employed the concept of an opener really from the start of the year. Tampa Bay did it extensively. Oakland, Texas, a number of other clubs. The example Tom mentioned about Milwaukee. And as for buying, the Brewers have bought into this entire situation down the stretch. They love Craig Counsell. They love what he's doing.
2 on, nobody out. 0-2 the count, and it stays 0-2. I get it, buy-in and all these catchphrases that get thrown around. It's just, you know, who knows what this first inning is going to become, and you're facing Clayton Kershaw. So if you fall behind as you make all these maneuvers, and Miley, you know, is kind of getting ready for the start. He walks the leadoff guy. The next guy gets hit after the pitching change. What does this inning turn into for the Dodgers?
That's exactly my point.
And buy-in and all that stuff's all well and good.
It's basically what you're weighing is the upside downside of it, because you're putting guys in a little bit different of a spot. It's not like they did this a bunch to the teams that Ken mentioned. That was a practice going on pretty much all year. Look, we've already exhausted what Milwaukee's going to be next year. It's going to be nowhere like this year. Their resources have allowed them to play the games the last month like this because of some injuries and just the lack of strength in their rotation.
1-2 the count on Freeze. 2 on, nobody out, and a strikeout from Woodruff, and he could really salvage this situation. Not that it needs salvaging, but he could really restore order to what we're seeing here in the first inning, as he will deal with Machado if he can get out of this. 2 on, nobody out, now 2 on, 1 out.
And that's why last night's game was so crucial for the Brewers in their quest to knock off the Dodgers. That would have been an unbelievable win for them, exhausting all the options they did. And then they're set up incredibly well. Going into this game, obviously up 3-1, knowing they have game 6 and 7 with a rested bullpen.
Machado now, as you heard on the pregame show, was fined for clipping Aguilar on his way through the bag at first last night in the 10th. They seemed to put it to bed when they conversed. Here's a shattered bat. Out at second and out at first, a double play. And the Brewers get what they wanted, and as a little icing on top, they get Machado on a shattered bat, ground ball, double play, and Woodruff continues to dazzle this postseason. No score after 1, and a crazy start to Game 5. By the Google Assistant, an easier way to get things done with just your voice. And is sponsored by Indeed, the world's #1 job site. And by T-Mobile, whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. Brandon Woodruff had the Brewers covered after hitting a batter, putting 2 on with nobody out, got out of it. Machado able to back up to field that ground ball with Aguilar running. And he fires his usual strike over to first for out #1. This was moments ago, and kind of the little moment caught between Craig Counsell and Wade Miley. I know this. You're not going to bother Wade Miley.
No.
He's about as easygoing as you're going to find anybody, even this time of year. He's having the time of his life. So much for the short rest and getting the start with 3 days of rest, as the #5 batter Perez takes a ball inside.
Yeah, and as far as Woodruff, tremendous stuff, right? I mean, his power sinking fastball and slider, as you saw evidence on that broken bat by Machado.
Well, what was lost in kind of all the machinations of what happened in that first inning is the Dodgers, who have struggled hitting with men on and men in scoring position, had their 3-4 hitters up. With 2 on, nobody out, the strikeout of Freese, so the runners stay at first and second, and then Machado, that had to feel good for the Brewers, ends up ending the inning, their big bat, by shattering his bat and grounding into a double play. Reaching for it, Kershaw stabs it. Perez, 2 out. So by way of a recap of a first inning, you see what we saw. 2 challenges, and then we had the discussion at second base. No challenge with Kane on the caught stealing. 1 pitching change after 1 plate appearance. 1 hit by pitch, 1 caught stealing, 1 stolen base, 1 double play. We had a near crazy catch by Bellinger in center. There's a strike into Moustakas to start this at bat.
Well, this series was going to really be about strategy from the Milwaukee Brewers, because they had to employ it for their successful formula. And for the Dodgers, you felt like, unlike last year, they were going to rely heavily on their starters, which they have. And it's been one of those, you think about it. I mean, the Dodgers really haven't had more than a 1-run lead. Their leads get late, and it's 2-2. It's two games to 2 with 2 1-run victories.
Here's the 0-2 from Kershaw. Struck him out, and that's #2 on the day. Better start to this one for number 22, and after an inning and a half in LA. Warm day, no score. Junior Home Run Derby allows kids 14 and under to compete to be in the National Home Run Derby Championship during the 2019 All-Star Week in Cleveland. Sign up today to host a free competition in your local community at jrhrd.com. So now a clean inning for Woodruff, who is pitching for the second time in this series. That dives down and in, ball one. Muncy, Taylor, Hernandez. The Brewers quote unquote started a left-hander. Wade Miley faced one batter. That was Bellinger. He walked him. They took Miley out, went to the right-hander.
You know, kind of like a football coach when he's got his scripted plays to start a game, you're hoping that ideally you can set it up right. Really, everything for the Brewers has been set up scripted, except for yesterday with Gonzalez getting hurt. The idea was to get him through the game a little bit more than they had to use because of his injury. It forced in relievers early. But what we're seeing today is not only do they want to win today, but it sets them up for when they get home.
That's a strike on Muncy. Last night we saw 32 total strikeouts in game number 4. And the two teams were a combined 2 for 20 with runners in scoring position as the game ended 2-1 in 13 innings. Good hard delivery from Woodruff at 97. One out here in the second. Rich Hill, last night's starter, is wearing the microphone for us today. Little play-by-play.
It's an 0-2 count. Clayton looks in for the sign. Here's the pitch. Strike 3.
He's rooting for the Dodgers.
Yes, he's rightfully should.
He's got a future, the 38-year-old. Not going to hang it up anytime soon, but hey, you're wearing a mic, you're at a ball game, why not do a little play-by-play? One out, nobody on, and the batter is Chris Taylor.
The point I want to make about the Brewers, there's going to be so much debate and so much over on this series about when to use Hader, when to do this. They've got weapons like this guy that can throw multiple innings, whereas Hader has only been able to go that 2 in a row or multiple innings and then the day off.
Here's one to short. Arcia has been so good defensively in this series. 2 out. Taylor's retired. Hernandez coming up.
So my point is they've got so many quality arms that the reaction naturally goes to Hader. When are you going to use them? How are you going to use them? And over 7 games, what are they going to do? Bank this win, then try to see what the next day. And today there's an outside chance, although small, that Hader could be available. But the mindset and the mind games that has been played between Dave Roberts and what he's got to do in his lineup, I think effectively, you know, you're going to hear a lot of debate about this when this series is over based on the outcome and who wins.
That's the way it always is after the fact. 2 out, nobody on, and the batter is Hernandez. Kike floats one to second. Perez makes the catch, and that sends game number 5 into the 3rd. No score.
minor league teams, 211 lifetime average, playoff debut at 38. A paleo diet? In the postseason, you never know.
Yeah, he's been another guy on that list. You get around him. He's been such an addition to this roster. He's been hitting, which has been great for Milwaukee and great for the 38-year-old catcher, but he's just having fun playing this game. It's good to see.
Yeah, it is. Tremendous shape, too, for...
Well, the paleo diet.
That I'm going to look into that.
No, you're not. Here's the 0-1. Ball one.
Do they allow desserts in the paleo?
I don't think that's on the list. Oldest player to make his playoff debut since 1905 at the age of 38. Gratz sounded like he broke his bat down the left field line. It is just foul. Doesn't take much to get it out of here right down the line, and that just ended up on the wrong side of the foul pole for the Brewers, and it's strike two.
Lately, we've seen a lot of lumber go down. And this one almost went down a hero. That thing would have stayed fair.
It would have died a hero. It would have been his first postseason home run. Instead, he's back to the plate with a new bat and a new count of 1-2. We're going to get into this whole starting pitching situation with Ken Rosenthal. Here's a 1-2. Fought off. Again, just to be clear, and I know there's a lot of moving parts to this and a lot of levels to the conversation, but the Brewers wanted the Dodgers to set their lineup to face the left-handed starter. They took the left-handed starter out after one batter faced and went to the right-hander here at the start of game 5. That's outside, and the count 2 balls 2 strikes. Kenny wrote about the Dodgers, not upset, but questioning the Brewers holding back even their game 2 starter at the beginning of this LCS. 2-2. A strikeout from Kershaw. That's his third. I don't want to throw everything, Kenny, into the category of gamesmanship. There's obviously a method to this madness, but a lot going on between these two sides with regard to the announced starter, especially in this game.
Well, Joe, what happened before the series is that the Dodgers contacted baseball about the Brewers' recent habit of delaying the announcements of their starters. And the Dodgers basically said, if they do that, we'll send 2 guys out to the mound and we'll pitch 1 to warm up for the game. Now, given that, I asked someone with the Dodgers, a couple of people just now, okay, are you upset with what they just did? And I got a reply that said, well, maybe we suspected something was up. Compare the game 2 lineup against Miley to the game 5 lineup against Miley. And today, there are 2 left-handed hitters in that lineup. Muncy and Bellinger. In game 2, there were none. Now, the question in a larger sense becomes, what does baseball do going forward? Will teams be obligated to go with the starter that they announce for a certain length? I don't know. There may be a rule put in saying that teams have to announce their starters, which the Brewers did for the first 3 games of this series before it even began. It's an evolving situation.
Great piece, Kenny, and thank you. And you see that it's a much different looking lineup. So maybe they were tipped off, or they thought that something like this could happen with Miley on short rest. But I think he brings up a great point at the end of it. Managers are told by the other side who's going to start so they can set their lineup. That's gone on for certainly as long as I can remember, and it's an important part of how a team sets up what they're going to do that day against a team starting pitcher. Here's a bunt foul as Freese lets it go off the bat of Woodruff. And I don't know that it's courtesy to do that. It's just the way that baseball is done. Now, maybe this goes into the category of, oh, well, you guys are just dinosaurs. You know, this is the new age, and you can roll one guy out there. If they're willing to send somebody out there for 1 plate appearance and burn him for the rest of the game, then they have every right to do it. I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, and you know, just because it's always been doesn't mean it always has to be. But what your point is valid, and Kenny's is valid, that when it starts becoming more and more of ingrained in our sport, then that's when I think you take a look at how to address it in the future. I mean, certainly we get into this all the kind of ways with even etiquette in certain plays. We saw one last night, you know, at first base, and how that can be played out on both sides and your point of view. And I think it gets oftenly mistaken that you have to just be in one camp. I don't think that's true.
Here's ball 2 up and in.
But if the industry, I don't care what it is, and that's why other sports make changes and other industries make changes, because there's a wave of, or a tendency towards one area of that needs to be addressed. They make changes just to effectively give everybody the same set of rules. But right now that's not a rule.
Here's a 2-1. That's down and in, and so Woodruff, who took Kershaw deep in game 1, was up there willing to give the out for the sacrifice to get Arcia, who's on with his 6th hit of this LCS, down to second. Freeze let it roll foul.
Yeah.
Now the count's 3-1.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see which pitcher would want that out and have 2 outs, runner on second.
Instead, a walk follows, and Kershaw barks in at the home plate umpire, Jim Wolf, and instead of getting the out, Freeze let it roll foul, and the Brewers win that little battle as Kershaw walks the pitcher.
And right here is going to be an example of where you have to have patience for Kershaw. He knows he's one of the best, and you just have to be able to pitch to the next hitter, in this case Kane. Emotions, everything matters more at this time of the year, and the hardest part, I don't care how many years you played or if you just stepped on the mound for your first time, is you feel that. You feel the sense of urgency from your crowd, your team, but then you got to go on and make a pitch. Make a pitch right here.
Big opportunity for the Brewers with Lorenzo Cain. 2 on, 1 out, and a ball outside as Barnes tried to frame it. Cain singled into center and then was caught stealing for the 2nd out of the inning. His 5th hit of this LCS in 21 at bats. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Fly ball into center, well hit. Back is Bellinger. It is over his head, up against the wall. Arcia will dig to the plate. Woodruff over to third on an RBI double by Lorenzo Cain, and the Brewers strike first.
Right field, 26, Christian Yelich.
A 1-out hit by Arcia, then the walk, and now this, the double by Lorenzo Cain.
Now there's the slider that caught the middle of the plate, and he squares it up with that fallback kind of swing, and he hit it so hard that straight over the head of Bellinger, who was playing kind of medium depth center field.
Here's Yelich. With the lead runner Woodruff, the pitcher, big-bodied right-hander over at third. The infield comes about halfway in. Yelich takes a strike.
And this is the kind of heat that Milwaukee has put on the Dodgers all series. I mean, if there was a meter of during these first 4 games who was more in control of the 4 games, it would be heavily favored Milwaukee. Yes, Dodgers had a 1-0 lead for going into the 5th inning, but there was a sense that when Milwaukee tied it, more favorable to them.
That hits the outside corner, and it's 0-2 on Yelich.
So Milwaukee's done everything you can do, with the exception of they don't have 4 wins yet. It's 2-2, but they keep putting heat on the Dodgers.
Yelich looking for his first RBIs of this LCS. The 0-2. Blocked by Barnes.
The slider is not a big breaking pitch for Kershaw. He wants it to be more like a cutter, but he's really, in these 2 games, been forcing. The 2nd inning was some of the best sliders he threw, and even the last one to Ryan Braun, but he's got to keep that pitch out of the middle of the plate.
big strikeout for Kershaw with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 out. It's the bottom of the order that set up this opportunity, and the 7, 8, 9 hitters have been so good for the Brewers in this LCS. Kane got his first hit, 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position to drive in the run, and now a strikeout of Yelich.
Yeah, cutting fastball on the outside part of the plate will ease that tension a little bit now with Braun at the plate, though. 2-out hits are always huge, and they're backbreakers for clubs in the postseason.
All-time hit leader for the Brewers in their postseason history. Ryan Braun, 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. Ball 1 up and away.
And in the regular season with 2 outs, this is where he shined. He hit .315 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position for the Brewers on the year, and really heated up in the second half when they needed him the most.
Runners at 2nd and 3rd, 2 out. That's down 2-0. On deck is Aguilar. In this series, Milwaukee 1 for 14 with 2 out and runners in scoring position. Here's a 2-0. 2-1.
Just throwing that hard cutter, 90, which a little less velocity, a little more break maybe, but it's been firm in this inning.
As many pitches in this third as he threw combined over the first 2 for Kershaw. 2-1. Three and 1.
Let's see how Kershaw either alters the game plan or sticks with it. I thought today we might see more curveballs from Clayton. He didn't throw a lot in the earlier match when he did, but he was effective with it.
Braun looking for a big 2-out RBI hit for Milwaukee. 3-1 the count. Bases loaded with 2 down. And it'll bring in Jesus Aguilar. Here's the last pitch on 3-1.
Another cutter that was down, just a tick below, covered the plate. Against Aguilar, he's been really good at getting the ball away and down. Again, getting his eyes, Aguilar eyes, out over the plate.
Breaking ball for a strike, and he had Aguilar locked up. Two hits, 2 walks in the inning. Only 1 run so far for Milwaukee. Strike 2. Aguilar just got a piece to stay up there. So far this postseason, 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. 16 left on for the big Milwaukee first baseman.
The reason this is so huge, obviously you don't want to give up a crooked number, but you talked about the shadows that are going to start coming into play, and so you can imagine how much more difficult it is going to be to hit. So an early lead is huge for either team, especially if you can get a multi-run lead early.
Well, the Brewers have that early lead, but they want more. Bases loaded, 2 out, still nothing and 2 the count. Good job by Aguilar to spoil the pitch.
That was a great job. That was paint away because of his long arms and ability to make contact. This is a perfect 0-2 pitch, and that's about all he could do.
Sixth pitch of the inning. Another good job by Barnes.
I would say, of watching Clayton, my whole career as a broadcaster now, what he was so gifted at was backdooring that slider when he wanted to and throwing that curveball anytime he wanted to. And it's just been a little forced in that cutter slash slider that he'd like.
Good at bat.
First 2 innings, relatively low energy. Third inning, you start expending a lot of energy here with the tension of the bases loaded. You get it out, you get out of it, you get a reprieve, you go sit down. If you don't, then of course it's a shorter outing that you desperately like to get some innings out of Clayton.
Yeah, both bullpens were basically spent last night. Another 1-2. A strikeout. And Kershaw gives up a run. But the Brewers leave the bases loaded. 1-0 Milwaukee into the bottom of the third in Game 5. broadcast presented by the Google Assistant on FS1. Bottom of the third inning, Lorenzo Cain with an RBI double. 1-0 Milwaukee, who just left the bases loaded and had second and third, one out with Yelich up, and he struck out. That is a strike from Woodruff to Austin Barnes with Kershaw to follow and Cody Bellinger. Brewers have made a change to their active roster after last night's game, and a high ankle sprain by Gio Gonzalez. He's been replaced. That's a strike, 0-2, and Zach Davies, right-hander, replaced him. He worked for Craig Counsell on the side, through to hitters. Live batting practice prior to this round. Pitched up through the end of the year, so they believe he's as ready as he can be without being on the active roster, as that's a little bit further outside, and the count 1-2 strikes.
Well, the question I asked Craig Counsell is, what can you really expect out of Woodruff today? What's the max? How many innings? And anywhere between 4 and 5 is probably what he thought he could get, and that's the question going to be for Craig. And how many innings can he get? And certainly this fireball and right-hander, if they could finish the game, they would probably allow him to do it.
A strikeout starts the third, and that's 3 strikeouts, 1 in each inning for Brandon Woodruff, who will now face Kershaw.
Well, here was a big point in the game that for Clayton, you know what he knew was at stake. Started off with a good curveball and then a cutter down, and then really got to going to working on each sides of the plate, down, away, and he made it work. And that pitch right there, the curveball set up this slider down and in, and a big strikeout for Clayton Kershaw.
Inside for a ball. Kershaw gave up the home run to Woodruff in game 1. In case you're wondering, Kershaw has 1 career home run, is a 163 hitter lifetime. 1-0 pitch from the big right-hander, hits the outside corner. Woodruff was one of 3 pitchers in the bullpen last night who didn't get into that 13-inning game. The guys who did were phenomenal for Milwaukee. Peralta, Burns, Soria, Hader, Knebel, Guerra. Almost went 4 full innings out of the bullpen. I mean, they just couldn't ask for any more.
No, they really couldn't. I mean, this would have been an ecstatic club had they won that game last night with all that it had. Valuable moving forward for the resources that they currently have, and they don't shy away from it. I mean, Craig Counsell said, look, a long series, probably not in our, more in our fear factor than it is in our wheelhouse.
Here's a 3-1. A walk as Woodruff returns the favor to Kershaw. Let's check in with Rich Hill again, the 5th member of our broadcast crew.
Here we are in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Shadows are starting to descend here at Dodger Stadium. 82 degrees. Slight breeze from left field is descending upon us.
That's 2 times using the word descend. That would be my only criticism. Otherwise, the future remains bright for Rich Hill. Here's Bellinger with 1 on, 1 out. He walked his first time, then the pitching change. As Miley exited, Woodruff took over, hit a batter, got out of it. Ball 1 down and in.
Well, this series has really confused when you look at the strengths of each club, meaning the power of the Dodgers. This series has been the Milwaukee offense of 14 extra base hits to LA 6. That's 8 doubles to 3. And a lot of those doubles have scored runs, either from runners on first or in second. So they've had stress-free runs when they've had their extra base hits. The Dodgers have had trouble manufacturing runs.
There's a strike to Bellinger. By the way, that walk in the first inning by Miley, it's the second time in postseason history that a starting pitcher faced just one batter. The other was because of injury. Johnny Cueto. Cincinnati left because of back spasms in 2012 to the eventual world champion Giants in the division series. Here's a 1-1. That is strike 2.
And last night the Dodgers didn't get an extra base hit.
They had 7 hits, all singles over 13 innings. Longest postseason game in Major League history in which a team had no extra base hits. They're looking for something out of the hitting hero last night that sent everybody home. Cody Bellinger with a 2-out RBI hit to right to win Game 4. One-two from Woodruff. Struck him out. 98 miles per hour, and that's 4 strikeouts for the big right-hander.
Such easy gas and just that 4-seam backspin. And really, when you hear a 4-seam fastball, what that is tremendous rotation. That when the ball is up, it has an extra hop to it. The hitter sees it, but really doesn't time it. When you have a 2-seam fastball, it usually means movement. And the hitter sees the ball coming to a spot where they think they're going to hit it. The movement usually gets it off the barrel. But what the Brewers possess is tremendous 4-seam fastball, especially out of their pen. And they're exposing the Dodgers on that pitch in this series.
Turner grounds to Arcia, who flips for the out. Woodruff scoreless through 3. 4th inning now. Game 5. Brewers will bat up by 1. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Hey Google, how far is Dodger Stadium from the Hollywood sign?
Dodger Stadium is 6.9 miles from the Hollywood sign.
I know John did not know it was 6.9 miles. I do know that he knows it's over an hour in a car.
Yeah. I started walking it and then realized it's not going to work.
You with a Fitbit is just dangerous. But thanks for trying that. All we had to do was ask the Google Assistant. Fourth inning, a strike. There have been a number of defensive changes. The main reason why is you see where everybody has moved, and I'll go through these as time allows here in the inning. It's to get Jock Peterson's bat in the ball game. He'll lead off in the bottom of this inning as Freeze is taken out. So Peterson goes into left. Taylor moves to center. Bellinger moves to right. Kike Hernandez moves from the outfield to second, and Muncy moves to first. Tough play. Toronto made it look easy, and he got Perez to start this fourth. Defense let Clayton Kershaw down in game one. The numbers weren't great. Could have been better with some help. And that was some help by Turner to start this fourth.
Yeah, breaking ball down, and he has to go to his right and then make the throw. Just looks like he barely got him, but the throw was on the money, and that's what Clayton Kershaw needs. Some quick outs, get back in that pitch count kind of. He's going to pitch deep in this game.
Here's a check swing by Moustakas on a ball in the dirt. Moustakas struck out his first time. Kershaw has struck out 5. Those strikeouts were bigger than the one he got to get Aguilar to leave the bases loaded. Right center. And just moving into center is Chris Taylor. He's over to grab out number 2.
What did I say? The ball's going to find you as soon as you get to a different position. That ball stays in the yard.
I mean, it is a versatile lineup, versatile roster. And Dave Roberts does a masterful job of moving all these chess pieces all over the place game after game. And it's not just a postseason thing. They do that all year. Once they got Machado, as Eric Kratz takes a strike, he was every day in the lineup. Justin Turner every day in the lineup. And the list pretty much ends right there. 0-1 pitch. Kratz takes a fastball high.
Yeah, and we've seen already games when they play out the way a manager wants, it's great because then the strategy looks great. But when they don't, and then you start getting to an empty bench and running out of players, that's really what Milwaukee was hoping to do, is create just a roadmap of confusion for Dave Roberts. And today you could sense he smelled something differently. That's why his lineup was constructed differently. Muncy at second, now at first. So at least trying to balance what Craig Counsell's trying to do.
Oh, he fooled Kratz with that delivery. Kershaw did, and the count 1-2.
That's such an important pitch for Clayton Kershaw, and we're seeing more of it now, especially second time through. That change of speeds breaking ball, that unique arc of which he throws it from.
Here's a 1-2. Left side, Machado. Dug out by Muncy and safe. A re-grab by Muncy as it popped out of his glove for a moment. Machado has made an error unless this is overturned.
One of the rare throws you're ever going to see from Manny Machado that's not perfect. I mean, this guy has the ability to throw it on the money every time, and this ball goes up, and then does he get it? It looks like the foot might have just come off as he re-grabs the ball in his glove. The ball goes up.
The question is the foot on the bag? I think when he re-grabbed the baseball, Kratz wasn't yet to the base. Another replay review powered by Mitel. The crowd sees it, and again the question is, was his foot on the bag?
I mean, they're walking off the field as if absolutely know. I mean, you would think Muncy would know if his spikes and foot was on the bag when he had it, but we'll see.
And he's out. So Muncy able to keep his right foot on the bag. There is no error. Just your routine 6-3 put out. Bottom of the fourth, Dodgers bat down 1. The MLB postseason continues tonight. Game 4 of the ALCS between Boston and Houston on TBS. Then again tomorrow with Game 5. And we'll be back on Friday with Game 6 of this series in Milwaukee. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern here on FS1. Peterson into right, base hit. Just into the game with the shadows starting to creep toward home plate. Breaks his bat. Gets a hit to start the fourth.
Rate at which this game's going. There's going to be a lot of souvenirs in these bats that are breaking for each team. But he split the defenders. Cover 2 right there by the Milwaukee Brewers, but he dropped it in. Did I say that right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, us play-by-play guys, when analysts go into cover 2 and like fire zones and all that stuff, we just nod and then go on to the next play. Yep, got that one right, Troy. Cover 2. Saw it all the way. Here's Manny Machado, bounced into a double play when he had an RBI chance in the first. Shows bunt and fouls it. Strike 1. Those shadows, Tom Verducci, are about to entirely cover the dirt at home plate.
Yeah, Joe, they say there's no clock in baseball, but today we've got a sundial on. That's that shadow. It's going to continue to creep out towards the mound. There's probably only about 30 to 45 minutes of good hitting conditions. I believe that's part of the reason why Dave Roberts went to his bench so early. The Brewers took BP around 4:30 local time yesterday. The hitters were telling me at that hour they could not see the spin on batting practice pitches coming in at 60 miles an hour. Now, the difference is the backdrop, the hitter's eye in center field will remain bright, and the mound and the plate will be dark. Imagine you're taking a picture with your cell phone into the sun, right? The focus, the object you're focusing on will be blurry. That's what happens to the baseball. Hitters look for a spin, and the seams disappear in the lighting conditions that are going to arrive in about 30 minutes.
Well, you saw Machado surprised by trying to bunt. Now he takes a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. I'm not going to lie. It was fun to pitch in shadows. Easier to pitch, harder to hit. A look from behind. Woodruff with his good stuff comes set. Might be 2 again. Out at second, out at first. 2 at bats for Manny Machado, who scored the winning run last night on the 2-out hit by Bellinger, and today 2 6-4-3 double plays. Yeah, 2 pitches that got in and jammed him. One broke his bat. This one just took the sting out of it. The batter will be Max Muncy. Good job. There are some teams that when you do what the Brewers did by showing the left-handed starter for 1 plate appearance, it turned into a walk by Bellinger, would really handcuff the other side's lineup. But because of the versatility and all these guys' ability to move all over the place, the only change we've seen is Jock Peterson. That worked out to a leadoff hit here in the bottom of the 4th after taking over in the top half, and as they move guys around, they don't lose much. Yeah, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but the Dodgers theme is going to be play this thing out, string it out, keep battling, because over time you feel like that depth is going to win out. Wear them down, get in their pen, utilize as many arms as possible. Yesterday, Craig Counsell stayed away from Jeremy Jeffress, the right-hander who had pitched in every postseason game up until last night. Stayed away from Brandon Woodruff. We know why now, with him basically making the start here today. But a lot of use of Corey Knebel, and Hader likely not available. If he is, maybe 1 batter in a key spot, according to Craig Counsell. So they're a little short with their late inning specialist down there today in Game 5. Yeah, he is human, by the way. So it's not like he can pitch every single day and do what he does every single day. There is a method to their madness and the way that they've used him and based on his success rate. 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Good pitch by Woodruff. I think Craig Counsell has done such a good job of handling Josh Hader and his use. He has a keen eye for when Hader needs a break. He doesn't overwork him. Hader's in good hands with his 4th-year manager. 2-2 pitch to Muncy. Struck him out. And Woodruff now has struck out 5 through 4. Beach in Malibu. Pleasant day in LA. Tight game again. 1-0 after 4.
Yes, on FS1 is presented by the Google Assistant, an easier way to get things done with just your voice. And is sponsored by Steal a Base, Steal a Taco, only at Taco Bell. And by eBay, if it's happening on game day, it's happening on eBay. Good start to this one as you look down at the Griffith Observatory here in Los Angeles as we move to the 5th. And a good start to this one for Milwaukee, as Arcia, who got the 1-out hit to start the 1-run rally in the 3rd inning, leads it off.
He's been huge, man. You're batting right now 8th, and you create stress. When 8-9-1 comes around for a starting pitcher, that's supposed to be the easier treading, and it really hasn't been. If you go back to the other game, of course, Woodruff, a big part of hitting a homer against Clayton Kershaw and then drawing a walk, which led to a run. So there's no doubt Clayton went out to this inning going, I've got to get this 8th hitter out, and then let me right the ship against my pitching compadre.
Woodruff, who had the home run off Clayton in game 1. Arcia, the only guy who played the entire game last night and did not strike out, strikes out to start the 5th. That's 6 strikeouts for Kershaw. Our Indeed player resume. Brandon Woodruff in this series, pitching wise, he's been almost flawless. Batting, as he steps in, he has homered. He has walked, which he did 2 innings ago.
You know, a lot of postseasons can be the coming out of some players that you didn't expect offensively, or they arrive. This truly is not a coming out party, but this is a star that we're about to see if they allow him to continue to flourish as a pitcher. And what I mean by that is I don't envy Craig Counsell next spring training. I know he's not worried about that now, but the competition he's going to have next spring training for starters is going to be as good as any other team we've seen, with what the arms and quality of success that he's had already here in postseason.
Yeah, he talked to us about it before the game, the 1-1. He said, I'm going to, by the way, another good swing by Woodruff. I'm going to have to tell 7 or 8 guys on their way into the offseason, leaving my office at the end of whenever this run ends. He hopes for the World Championship, and say you're fighting for a spot next spring. Back-to-back strikeouts, 7 on the day for Kershaw.
Well, whatever mechanical adjustment that Clayton Kershaw has made, now the consistency of that hard cutter slider has been much better. So he's back in tune with that pitch, which makes it so hard for a hitter to lock in, because he's been the best in baseball at going east to west, north and south. North and south with the curveball, and then east and west, of course, with the fastball and the slider. Basically a 3-pitch pitcher that has dominated baseball for a long time.
These Dodgers have won their division 6 straight years. They're in their 3rd straight LCS, and this is a round of the playoffs that has given Kershaw fits. There's Lorenzo Cain, who has the only RBI. It came on a double in the 3rd. Ball 1. 2-5 during NLCS play for Kershaw. 11 games, 8 starts against Philly twice, St. Louis, the Cubs twice. And now he's making his 2nd start against the Brewers. He's 0-1. A ball and a strike on Cain. And the difference between game 1 and what he's been able to do in game 5. You can just see with the way Cain is hunting for that pitch from light to dark that he didn't see it. That's strike 2. This postseason, T-Mobile is again going to bat for hurricane recovery, and you can help. Every time you tweet using hashtag HR4HR, T-Mobile will donate another $1 to Team Rubicon. Shallow center, Taylor. And a quick and easy 5th for Kershaw. Bottom of the 5th. Bottom part of the order coming up for the Dodgers, down 1. Today's aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. One-run game, bottom of the 5th. Milwaukee on top, and their good young right-hander Brandon Woodruff has been fantastic. He has struck out 5. He's induced their cleanup hitter Machado to bounce into 2 double plays. He's walked only 1, hit a batter. Works to Chris Taylor. Got a good rip there. I thought it was interesting when Dave Roberts talking about these shadows, and he actually talked about it yesterday. He said, as a leadoff hitter, I never wanted to lead off and be in a position where I came back to the dugout and told guys I couldn't see the pitch. So it's such a negative thing to put out there. He said, I hear some guys do that and it drives me nuts. These guys are searching for these pitches as the count evens at a ball and a strike.
Yeah, and with the simple mechanics of Woodruff, the only thing you can hope for if you're Dodgers lineup is that he loses command, because when he has been on attack with that fastball and breaking ball, it has been difficult to pick up, and I haven't seen many hitters be able to square it up yet.
Strike 2. Woodruff is just 25 years old, from Mississippi. Big, 6'4", 232. Got up for 8 starts last year. Big piece of the ever-changing puzzle for Craig Counsell in 2018. 1-2 on Taylor. That's up the middle. Tough play. Arcia. Base hit. And it gets away from Aguilar to send Taylor to second with nobody out. Ill-advised throw from the young Milwaukee shortstop.
Well, this is incredible athleticism to get to the ball, and then just the quest to try to complete it. That internal clock in his head as an infielder, you kind of got to know by the speed of the runner, but can't. What an effort. The ball actually hits Taylor when it gets by. Aguilar
goes down as a single, E6. It's the second error by Arcia this postseason. Crowds come to life as Kike Hernandez bats. Taylor got a great jump and steals third without a throw.
Besides the obvious of how huge that was, this is the part of the lineup where it would have been very difficult to bunt him over, because you've got Barnes on deck and then Kershaw. So now you're giving the 2 regular hitters in front of Kershaw an opportunity to get the tying run. And at this point, that's all the Dodgers are concerned with. Tie it before you can do anything else. Third base and first base are the only places you really don't want to hit it with them being in.
Here's the 0-1. I'll tell you, Hernandez did a good job to realize the jump that Taylor got. He took a strike right down the middle, while Taylor sliding into third base without a throw. Puig is lurking. Bullpen is quiet for the Dodgers. Big swing by Kike Hernandez, strike 2. With a quiet bullpen, you wonder if that's just for show, with Puig standing with a bat on the top step of the dugout, or if he would hit for Kershaw, who's been so good. Right now it's Kike Hernandez with a runner at third. Nobody out. Brewers lead by 1. Big strikeout. Austin Barnes will walk to the plate. For the Dodgers, John, in this series, driving in a runner from third base with less than 2 out. 1 for 7, and for the postseason 2 for 9. They just cannot produce.
Honestly, it is amazing. It's 2-2. If you think about all the things that have gone wrong for the Dodgers, or let's just put away, haven't executed properly, it is amazing that they sit in this game 5 with a chance to go up 3-2. Now the Brewers are going to bring the infield in an absolutely obvious situation to cut down the runner at home on contact.
Barnes takes a strike. When you combine not being able to get runners in from third with less than 2 out with the statistic that they've gone 95 at bats without homering, this is a Dodgers team that set a franchise record for home runs, but they're not coming in this series either. Infield is in. Runner at third is Taylor. At the plate, in the spotlight, is Austin Barnes. Up the middle, tie ball game. And that just kept Clayton Kershaw in the game.
Absolutely. Listen, Barnes may not be the most talented hitter on the roster, but he's had the best approach. He seems quiet. It doesn't seem overmatched to him, taking a lot of pitches that maybe he can't hit, and then simply going up the middle where nobody is and just taking what the defense gives him. Outstanding job. Now Clayton can bunt. Barnes over to second, stay in the game, and leave it up to Bellinger to see if they can take the lead.
Well, our camera caught Dave Roberts talking to Clayton Kershaw during that at bat by Barnes. Alex Wood was up, getting loose for the Dodgers in their bullpen. I don't think it was for show. Puig was coming up. Wood will sit down. That base hit just changed the entire look of these middle innings.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly the Dodgers feel a lot better with the way the shadows are, that the game is tied with a chance to take their turn at getting the lead.
See if Woodruff can hold it right here. Kershaw drops down, a beauty. Down to second is Barnes, 2 out. Our Budweiser game summary as we play in the bottom of the 5th. We had a first inning pitching change, came after 1 plate appearance. 5 defensive changes, 3 challenges, plus another discussion, and 2 pitchers, Kershaw and Woodruff, have been walked. And a 1-1 game is the most important stat now in a 2-2 series. Runner at second, 2 out for Cody Bellinger.
Bellinger had a kind of an excuse me swing against Hader with the defensive shift that was put on shortstop, nobody there. But typically he's looking to elevate the ball. And that's why the shift is on for him and most of the left-handed hitters for the Dodgers. And I'll tell you, in the shift, they're banking, Perez is banking that he's going to hit the ball hard, because look how deep he's playing and the speed that Bellinger has. He doesn't hit it super hard. There's no way they get him out at first.
Strike 1. StatCast is powered by Amazon Web Services, and that's why they shift the way they do with Bellinger up. That's his spray chart. His last 100 batted balls, 200 feet or less. The 0-1. Barnes with a big secondary lead out there at second base. Anything through the infield scores him easily.
We're talking about and praising the effort by all the relievers for the Brewers. You think about their effort, and yet it's been really the Dodgers who have kind of stayed in there and kept this at bay, because they've given Milwaukee not much either, or this series would have completely got away from the Dodgers.
Good pitch in on the hands of Bellinger. Strike 2. The Brewers in the 6th inning will have the big bats: Yelich, Braun, and Aguilar. Struck him out. For Woodruff, strikeout number 7 for the Dodgers, their first run of the day. Tied 1-1 after 5.
All right, Dodger fans, check in.
Big lefty goes back to work, and Yelich skies one into center for Taylor. One out in the 6th inning. It was an unearned run that scored against Brandon Woodruff. That throw by Arcia, who's been so good for the Brewers in this series, as he twirled across the middle of the infield. Sent Taylor to second. He stole third in a blink and was there for the 1-out RBI hit by Austin Barnes.
Yeah, assisted by the ball hitting Taylor once it got by Aguilar. Well, now the Shadows are almost past the mound to what we described earlier.
But still, that left hand is coming out of the sunshine. That won't be the case for much longer as the first one misses to Ryan Braun. Kershaw made his biggest pitches in the third. Take you through that inning here in the sixth, the key moment in this game for each side. Here's a 1-0. 2-0. Back in the third, Kratz led off. He struck out. Arcia got a base hit. Woodruff walked after showing bunting one that the Dodgers and David Freese let roll foul. So 2 on with 1 out, and the RBI double by Kane. That's low for ball 3. And with second and third 1 out, Yelich struck out. Braun walked. Good long at bat by Aguilar, but he struck out, and the Brewers left the bases loaded. Here comes a 3-0 pitch to Ryan Braun. 3-1.
Clayton has, with the exception of this hitter, pretty much been on attack and controlling the strike zones of each batter that goes up there, making the adjustment with his slider.
Full count.
Braun's going to ask and look back, say, was that a strike? I know if what he swung at.
It was 3-0, and now a ground ball back to Kershaw. Lobs one over to first, 2 out. And the batter will be Aguilar. You know, you look at this start for Kershaw, John, and he had that long third inning. Otherwise, he's faced the minimum in every other frame.
Yeah, he's grinding, and certainly without the ability to strike out 9, 10, 11, which we haven't seen in a while, he knows he can still pitch and pitch in and around the strike zone.
Aguilar takes a strike. Ken Rosenthal.
Clayton Kershaw told me yesterday in the interview we aired on the pregame show that he thinks his velocity still might come back. He acknowledged it's down, but he's this offseason. John, I don't know if that's possible, but he's got 6 strikeouts today doing what he's doing.
He's been bothered by a bad back on the DL 2 times this year. Right in the center of the action for LA. And the count stays 0-2 on Aguilar.
Yeah, and I know, look, I know from the outside looking in what makes Clayton Kershaw tick, and that's what makes him special. You know, he pitched a gem against the Braves, struck out 1 guy, didn't have his best stuff against Milwaukee the next game, and you see the results of his adjustment here.
You know what we haven't talked about, I don't know if time will permit, the Brewers hope that time will, and we can get Ken and Tom involved, but there's an opt-out in Kershaw's deal. He's up to 86 pitches, where the final 2 years he can become a free agent after this season. Over $60 million owed him by the Dodgers on that deal. So if the Dodgers don't advance to the World Series and he opts out, this could be his final Dodger start. If he ends up elsewhere, he could still opt out and re-sign here. Another strikeout. And Kershaw's doing all he can to give the Dodgers a series advantage. Bottom of the 6th. Dodgers bat tied at 1. On Fox, Michigan State, number 6 against number 24. It all kicks off Saturday at 11:30 Eastern on Fox, or watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app. Do your boys have a chance?
They have a chance, but I probably won't be watching. I'll be prepping for our game.
Is that right? You are a bad liar. 2, 3, 4 hitters for each side in this 6th inning. Brewers went 1, 2, 3, and Kershaw's retired 10 straight. 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Dodgers means Turner, Peterson, and Machado. How good has Brandon Woodruff been? He took over after 1 hitter in the 1st. He's working in the 6th. He's giving exactly what the Brewers and Craig Counsell needed here after that long 13-inning affair last night.
I just shake my head because I don't care that he was a starter previously. He hasn't been doing it all year. And so you're in these shorter stints and pitching more often. His longest outing this year was a 5-inning start at Arizona. He did win that game, but everything leading up to this has not been a large workload. This is incredible what they're getting out of Woodruff.
Doing it in the high pressure situation of a Game 5 in the NLCS at the age of 25.
I mean, what they got out of Guerra, he hasn't been pitching much. What they got under the gun from some of these guys has just been, not only does it advance them well for next year and the future in their careers, it has served them well in this series and have given them a chance to take this series.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Turner. Jammed him out of play. The lights are now on here at Dodger Stadium. Just after 4 p.m. here locally.
They got a nice crowd. I didn't know how it was going to work with the early start. They've done a, fans here in LA have represented.
Look at you talking like a kid over there.
I'm just reading a card.
Bad liar. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Turner 0 for 1. Hard hit. Kane coming to get it. Can't get there, but knocks it down. Leadoff man is on for the 3rd straight inning for the Dodgers.
Fastball middle. You see the stroke. Back up the middle.
Corbin Burns, the right-hander who pitched last night 2 perfect innings, with 1 exception, a hit batter. But 3 strikeouts, no hits, no runs, is getting loose now. Jock Peterson fooled on that nasty pitch from Woodruff on a change.
See, that'll be the next level stuff for Woodruff if he truly does go into the rotation next year. He's got 4 pitches. So you don't always need those 4 pitches in a condensed roll out of the pen. You can use your power and get by for seeing guys 1 time.
Peterson trying to launch it, fouls it out of play. Strike 2.
But the beauty of pitching, when you go through the lineup 2 and 3 times, you have to find different ways to get him out, because you can't just keep pounding and pounding even though you got a great fastball. So he's shown all the touch and finesse to utilize every weapon he has.
Eric Johnson, the pitching coach, has done some kind of job putting this staff together. Great scouting in this organization. Good young power arms. It's been 98 at bats since the Dodgers' last home run. The game winner in the 8th inning by Turner in Game 2. 1 away.
See, here's the other thing, is another great fastball above the hands of the hitters. Here's the other thing people don't understand or may not know. As a starting pitcher throughout the year, you can get better because you work on the side in your bullpens. As a reliever, you really don't do that. You just kind of go throughout the year knowing you might be needed. So you're not getting better per se by having to work on the side. You just have to be good when you're called upon. So give these guys credits for staying sharp without a lot of years of experience to draw from.
Manny Machado has homered 3 times this postseason. In this game, he's bounced into a pair of 6-4-3 double plays. Strike one. Only 2 players in Major League Baseball history have grounded into 3 double plays in a postseason game. The Tigers' Tony Taylor in '72 in the ALCS, and a rookie named Willie Mays for the Giants in the '51 series.
That couldn't have been good for his career.
It was downhill after that. I think he was able to rebound. And a check on Turner as he dives back in hand first. Machado with 40 home runs total this season, including the postseason. Gets hit. And that'll put runners on at first and second. And if you're looking for any payback for what happened at first base last night, this is not the time for that.
No, that wasn't it. That was just a pitch that got away. And
but in a game that's 1-1 in the 6th inning of a tied NLCS, that one runs in and clips Machado on the left elbow. It's the second batter that Woodruff has hit. And it puts a go-ahead run in scoring position for Max Muncy. Out to talk is Eric Kratz. Hey Google, when is the next NLCS game?
On Friday, the Dodgers will play the Brewers at 8:39 p.m.
How will this series stand? Travel day tomorrow. We just keep putting Wade Miley up as the probable starter. We had that yesterday prior to this game. That's what they did in NLCS Game 2. Ryu was so good in the division series. Wade Miley was brilliant in this NLCS through his 5 2/3. A couple of lefties back in Milwaukee. Here's Muncy, 2 on, 1 out. Strike one. Muncy has struck out 2 times in this game. He's 2 for 13 with no RBIs in this NLCS.
Well, besides the frustration of coming in and out of games and starting on the bench and coming in, they have pitched him perfectly. They keep getting that outside strike, which he's disciplined most of the time not to swing, and they haven't been giving him that inner third pitch where he's been able to do his thing and hit for power.
Ball and a strike. Muncy 1 for 7 with men on this postseason. He's left 9 runners aboard. 2 out there for him. 1-1 pitch is hit off the end of the bat, foul, strike 2.
See what he's done this postseason with runners on. What he's hoping to do is make contact here. As they say in the dugout, we need outfield grass. usually results in a hit. In this case, would take the lead.
Woodruff looking for his 9th strikeout, which would be a career high in his young time in the big league. Short time. Here's a 1-2. Left side, base hit. Here comes Turner. Dodgers up 2-1. Muncy hits it through that hole on the left side of the infield. Here comes Craig Counsell.
Ground ball, got the outfield grass, and obviously no chance for Braun. What a job by Woodruff, and just unfortunately on the trailing end right now.
Yeah, he took the words out of my mouth. 25-year-old young right-hander, fantastic. He won't be happy he's given up the 2 runs, down by a run as Corbin Burns takes over. Woodruff ends up going 5 1/3. StatCast is powered by Amazon Web Services. As you see the spray chart for Max Muncy as he serves one through the left side.
Yeah, a slider tried to backdoor for a strike after a changeup he fouled off. And he went slow, and here's the big swing on the changeup that's up. And then he comes back on a slider that trying to get the back doors, and he just goes with it.
An adjustment made by Muncy. And he's put the Dodgers on top for the first time. And it happens here in the 6th inning as Corbin Burns, this postseason, has given up 2 runs in 6 1/3, pitching for the 3rd time in this LCS. Taylor with a leadoff base hit last inning. Moved to second on a throwing error. Stole third, scored on a hit by Barnes.
See, this is the amazing thing about a series. When you face the Milwaukee Brewers, or they face each other, you see in a 3, maybe a 4-game series, you might see relievers twice, maybe, but typically you don't see them multiple times. In this series, the Dodgers are going to see everybody they have in the pen multiple times. A lot of pressure on them to keep getting it done over and over again. The more looks you tend to favor the hitter, the more he gets to see you.
Roberts has talked about gathering information against these relievers. Taylor ready for an 0-1 with runners at first and second, one out. Burns, the third pitcher of the day for Milwaukee. Puig is on deck with Kike Hernandez, who's 0 for 10 in this LCS. His spot to follow Taylor. Here's a 1-1. On the outside corner, strike two. Corbin Burns got the win in the clincher game 3 of the division series at Colorado. Worked last night and he's right back in there today. Taylor takes strike 3 over the inside corner. This young right-hander comes in and strikes out the first man he faces, 2 out.
Watch the cutting action right here. Fastball in the inner half, and it just catches the inside part of the plate. Ball comes out. See the spin.
Good pitch by Burns, and with 2 on 2 out, Yasiel Puig will bat. Kratz pays a visit to go over their scouting report. Kike Hernandez is lifted. Puig will stay in the game and go play right. Nobody up in the bullpen. Long meeting. Home plate umpire Jim Wolf goes out to break it up. As Dave Roberts uses his second bench player, he's left with Kemp, Dozier, and Grandal. Strike 1.
Puig much better against right-handers on the year, as we've stated.
5 out of 15 during the regular season as a pinch hitter, with 1 home run, 4 RBIs. The 0-1 from Burns.
He's done a better job, has Puig, for the most part, staying as quiet in the batter's box. Obviously an excitable player, but he's been more quiet, trying the technique and trusting his hands, and of course his lower body, as every hitter would tell you, this is important.
Popped up right side, foul ball, out of play, strike 2.
But he's so strong, he doesn't need much movement to get anything started. He relies on his upper body strength. Turner Ward has kind of say it's an interesting relationship between him and Puig. As the year's gone on, he's used to Puig coming back, especially after he's done something special and getting the old kiss on the neck.
Burns trying to hold it right here. One-two pitch. 2-2.
Well, the good news for Clayton Kershaw is his team has gotten in the lead. The only bad news is it's taken a while. And so he's had a rather lengthy rest on the bench.
Now the 2-2. Puig with a base hit into center. Here comes Machado. Throw is to third, and Muncy is hung up. Machado scores. It's a 3-1 game, and Muncy is tagged to end the inning. But Yasiel Puig has made it a 2-run game. And delivers off the bench for the Dodgers in a 2-run sixth. The throw from Kane went to third. And eventually Muncy tagged out. 3-1 after 6 here in Game 5. Jackets and more. Find all the gear you need all postseason long at MLBshop.com. See, Puig stays in the game in right, and that versatility of this roster shown yet again as Bellinger goes back to center and Chris Taylor moves into the infield at second base. Perez with 2 quick strikes. 90 pitches now for Clayton Kershaw And a violent, awkward slide by Muncy late into the bag as he was being chased by Arcia to end the sixth.
Yeah, that could have been costly, even though he was able to get that extra run in by forcing the throw to third, which sometimes is debatable. You're trying to gauge as a runner. If you think it's going to be close at home, then you do it. If not, you trust the speed. Well, under 21 minutes for Clayton Kershaw, so I watched him. He got out there early and used every minute of the 250 break to make sure his rust was knocked loose.
A strikeout starts this seventh, and that's 9 for Kershaw and 11 in a row.
And he's been right on point. What the rest sometimes does, it gets you outside of, you never want to cool down, so obviously you wrap your arm, but you don't want to lose the momentum you've had. And sometimes it can affect these pitches, but not to the first hitter. And a rush of adrenaline when your team gives you a 2-run lead out on the mound, you know he's feeling it and realizes more than likely this is his last inning.
Breaking ball has Moustakas frozen for strike one. You see the right-hander Baez, the left-hander Ferguson. Came on the air talking about Clayton Kershaw trying to bounce back from a rough game one start. He's been good. Strike two, better than good. He's had one tough inning, and that's it.
I'm telling you, he's one of the best I've ever seen of having an untypical or atypical start that didn't last 4 innings or get past 4 innings and comes right back. And we showed you the numbers and how well he has pitched when given that opportunity to make the necessary adjustment. That comes from within, that comes with just flat out being good.
Breaking ball is hit to first. Muncy. Here are the numbers again that John came on the air talking about following a start, John, of 4 or fewer innings. He was coming off his shortest postseason start here today.
Yeah, for a guy with a career and as many starts as he's made, obviously you see only 19 of them, but pretty darn good following up those 19 and being able to shrug off kind of what was looming over his head, the things he's had to talk about or hear or questions this time of the year.
There's a strike to Kratz. Kershaw this postseason has turned in his longest postseason start with 8 great innings against Atlanta. And then his shortest postseason start. Going to take a long throw. Machado gathers, throws. What a play. Made it look easy. And 13 straight retired by Kershaw, who's trying to give his Dodgers a 3-2 advantage in this NLCS. LA up 3-1. Welcome back to the NLCS, presented by the Google Assistant on FS1. 8, 9, and 1 hitters against Joakim Soria. And a big balloon ends up on the field.
Sorry about that.
Impressive, though. Here are the numbers this postseason for the right hand of the Brewers, picked up from the White Sox. Austin Barnes is the hitter, and he provided one of the biggest hits that has happened in this NLCS. Not just tying the game with 1 out in the 5th, but what it did for Kershaw. Kershaw was the next scheduled hitter, as he is now. Puig had moved into the on-deck circle, and when Barnes tied it, Clayton Kershaw stayed in the game, and he's pitched 2 more shutout innings since.
It's been huge, and certainly, again, the formula for the Dodgers, for them to be successful: trust your starters, pitch deep in the game, turn it over to limited usage of the pen, and that would be how their formula of success would be to get it done if they're going to win the series. And we don't know if Kershaw's going to stay in or not, but he's on the on-deck circle. He's in rhythm. And a 2-run lead.
Now Ryan Madsen has joined the left-hander Caleb Ferguson. With Kershaw up next. That is a swing and a miss. Gets away from Kratz, who finishes the out at first. And here comes Kershaw. John, if he's gone from his longest postseason start this year to his shortest to this one has some grit to it for Kershaw.
Yeah, it really does. And you knew going in, he knew going in what the outcome of this game was going to weigh heavily on the opinions of many people and the questions he was going to have to answer. Now, you never go into a game trying to answer those questions in the first inning, but you go into the game and just trying to separate all that's happened in the past and just go pitch to pitch, inning to inning. And I think he did that really well. Only when he walked the pitcher did he look a little surprised and anxious to want to get a call. But I said in the beginning, if he's able to withstand the patience of what the Brewers are going to do to him, he'll be fine. And he got out of that inning, and we've seen the results since.
If he takes the mound in the top of the 8th, he will walk out there having retired 13 straight. And in an era of these initial outgetters who sometimes don't even stay in a game long enough to get an out, as we saw in this one with Wade Miley walking the leadoff man Bellinger and then lifted. This is kind of one of those old-fashioned tough starts by a talented pitcher that Kershaw is turning in here for Dave Roberts and the Dodgers.
And to just reiterate, if the Milwaukee Brewers had the same resources, they would approach it the same way. They just don't. And so that's why they've had to go to multiple pitchers. If they had some horses, which next year again I think they will, they'll approach it differently.
Here's the second walk issued to Kershaw in this game 5, and Soria can't believe that was called ball 4. Kershaw's knocking on the door of 100 pitches. He's got 98. Looks like it might have caught the edge of the strike zone. Instead, it's ball 4, and it's 1 on, 1 out. Bellinger, strike 1.
Well, again, time's going to tell him whether he goes out for the 8th or not. But if for whatever reason Kershaw has to run extensively or utilize his legs here that might be the easiest decision on him not returning to the 8th.
0-2 on Cody Bellinger. Bellinger, the hero in Game 4 late last night. The 0-2 from Soria. That's into left center field, and Kershaw will have to run. He digs to third. They will hold him there on a double by Bellinger.
Bellinger on the pitch down, just goes down and gets it in kind of an abbreviated swing, and once again he benefits from it. And this is the one thing with Kershaw on the bases, getting after it to third on a ball in the gap.
That ball was cut off before it got to the track. I don't think anybody else running scores on that play, but it just puts a little more mileage on Kershaw when you think about trying to go back out for the top of the 8th. We'll see. Now second and third, one out. Infield halfway, Turner takes a strike, and that was the Dodgers' first extra base hit in the last 2 games. Xavier Cedeno, the lefty, getting loose. The tunnel goes to the other end of that phone line. Well outside, and Kratz able to haul it in.
Highly doubt the contact plays on with Kershaw at third. Contact play is as soon as the hitter makes contact, even with the infield in, you force a throw and you read it off of your lead and secondary lead and try to make the infielders make a perfect throw. This is going to be primarily the ball's got to get through.
Down the line, slicing into the corner. It is foul. Ball and 2 strikes. Remember, the closer Kenley Jansen in that tie game 1-1 had to work 2 innings last night. Through 34 pitches to get it done. It's been 104 at bats since the Dodgers last hit a home run. A year in which they sent a franchise record with their 235 round trippers during the regular season. And it was Turner who hit it in the 8th inning. A decisive blow in that 4-3 win in Milwaukee, game 2. One-two into center field, a base hit. Kershaw scores. They hold Bellinger at third. Good base running by Turner on a high throw by King. It's 4-1.
Professional hitting. Inside, didn't try to pull it. Goes right back up the middle.
It's a 4-1 game. This rally's starting with a walk to Kershaw. Soria knocked out second and third. Still only 1 out. Dodgers up 3. The NLCS, presented by the Google Assistant on FS1, is sponsored by eBay. If it's happening on game day, it's happening on eBay. By Hankook Tire, chase down your passion, never halfway. And by T-Mobile, whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. We have seen some kind of game here. Game 5, Clayton Kershaw. One rough inning, he limited the damage. He's been supported now by 4 runs, a chance for more. Gets the hug, looks like his day is done. The day is finished for Jock Peterson, who is lifted here for the pinch hitter Brian Dozier. And Xavier Cedeno, who was picked up during the season from the White Sox, put together this year overall in 48 games. Infield is in and shifted. Second and third, only 1 out. Strike 1 from Cedeno. Dozier got his first start of the postseason last night. And the only RBI of the Dodgers until Cody Bellinger drove home Machado in the 13th. Tries to bunt, bunts it foul. Good idea. Would have played it a run without a play, but it rolled foul as Dozier tried to beat the shift.
That's just you can't defend it. I mean, it's impossible to defend the way the alignment is. And all you got to do is really like a sacrifice bunt. Almost approached it a little bit too bunt for a base hit type. That is the right approach, the right play. You just didn't get it in fair territory. They could not defend that.
Lead runner is Bellinger at third. He can run. Justin Turner is the trailer at second with 1 out and an 0-2 count on Dozier. Dozier almost clipped by that pitch. Dozier will stay in the game, play second base, and Chris Taylor, who started in left, who's been in center, who's been at second, will go back to the outfield when Dozier and the Dodgers take the field in the top of the 8th. It is a versatile group. Picked up from the Twins. Saw his numbers with runners in scoring position during the regular season. 1-2. 2-2. I would imagine that start for Dozier last night takes a little bit of the edge off for him, getting a chance on a long night to see a lot of pitches instead of trying to come off the bench.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just like a depth issue, that a good issue that Dave Roberts has, and today more of rewarded by going up the middle and getting hits when they needed it most. That's been the missing component for the Dodgers so far this series.
They adjusted their swings. We've seen it from Bellinger. We've seen it from Muncy. Soria knocked out after 1/3 of an inning. Slow roller. Here comes Bellinger. Another run. It's 5-1.
Contact. You never know what's going to happen when you make contact. Well, these kind of things will happen. Swing and miss, it's pretty much known what's going to happen. No run's going to be driven in. And even though it wasn't hit with an exit velocity that we fall in love with, It's an RBI, and it's a big added-on run.
They're going to walk Machado intentionally and deal with Muncy. The Dodgers able to get a runner in from third with less than 2 out on that chopper hit by Dozier off the bench. Now first and third, 2 out from Muncy, who had an RBI hit last inning. This rally started with a 1-out walk to Kershaw on a borderline pitch. Double by Bellinger, single for an RBI by Turner. Pitching change, that chopper for an RBI, now the walk. And now Muncy. Machado steals second. And it does go down as a steal, his first of the postseason. Five to 1 here in the 7th. Cedeno. Misses with ball 1.
Well, it's been a dead heat. It really has. Somebody's going to take a 3-2 lead. As we stand today, what is the run? It's just about even. I mean, 1-run wins all the way around. A 4-run win for Milwaukee, and that's the margin we have now. It's
one spins out of the way, ball 2.
And the formula for Milwaukee, if they don't rally in this game and come back, they're going to have a rested Hader that, you know, game 6 they're going to be itching to get in for multiple innings, and a much more rested bullpen that had to really, in these 3 games with no off days, was going to be a challenge. Definitely a challenge for Craig Counsell.
He said coming in, we knew game 5 was going to be the toughest one for us. Great relief work from Woodruff, went 5 1/3. Here's a 2-1. A little bit up, 3-1. Muncy sitting on a pitch on 3-1. Full count. He went around, struck out, and the inning is over. But the adjustments that the Dodgers have made, shortening some of their swings. A hit by Taylor. Muncy going the other way for an RBI. Bellinger plugs the gap in left center with a double. Turner into right center. All in support of their 30-year-old left-hander. 5-1 after 7. 5-1 game. Los Angeles on top. 8th inning of Game 5. And Pedro Baez, who has not allowed a run in 5 2/3 innings pitched this postseason, has a win. 9 strikeouts to 2 walks. Chris Taylor has been all over the place. Started this game and left. He's back where he started. And in center as well. Second back to left as Travis Shaw goes after the first pitch. Shaw pinch hitting here. Strike 1.
Well, now it's up to the Milwaukee Brewers offense. All the pressure and talk was about what LA had not been able to do, especially innings 1 through 6. Well, lately the Milwaukee Brewers lineup has been shut down by the Dodgers, so they're going to have some rally in them. And they're going to have to find a way to get some hits as well.
It's a 4-run game here in the 8th. Shaw takes a ball. The count evens. In the on-deck circle is Domingo Santana. And then back to the top of the order, Kane. Anybody gets on Yelich. Wouldn't take much from the Brewers to feel better about things, but they are on the short end. But headed home after this one. Game 6 on Friday. 2-1.
Yeah, if nothing else, as you said, get some momentum. If they can't come back all the way and tie it, start feeling good about some of the at-bats late. Day off tomorrow, and then a loud home crowd starting on Friday.
So the numbers: 9 strikeouts in 7 innings, a run on 3 hits, 2 walks for Kershaw. 2-1. 3-1 as that skips in from Baez. Ferguson, the left-hander, is still up for the Dodgers in their pen. Into left center field. Bellinger to his right. Travel day in this series, but the postseason continues. As we look ahead to tomorrow, immediately on the other side of the ledger tonight, it's Game 4 of the ALCS, Boston and Houston. That's on TBS. And again tomorrow with Game 5. We'll be back on Friday with Game 6 of this series. Coverage starts at 7:30 Eastern here on FS1. Jackie Bradley Jr. had that grand slam to open it up in Game 3. And their 8-2 win to go up 2-1. 97 misses to Santana pinch hitting for Cedeno. Domingo Santana has been great. Hit 30 home runs last year. Been relegated here in the postseason to bench duty, and he has been a big-time weapon as the count goes to 2-0. Last night, Santana delivered an RBI double in the 5th inning. Tied the game at 1. It stayed that way until the bottom of the 13th.
It's pretty simple for Milwaukee moving forward. Top heavy lineup where the bottom half has done majority of the work. They've done unbelievable contributions up until this point. Get Yelich going. Kane shows signs of coming out of it. Braun has been pretty good. Aguilera clean up.
That is a high strike as Santana didn't like the call, and instead of 3-1 it's 2-2. See where it was. Right at the top of the zone in 97. Good call by Jim Wolf. Here's a 2-2. Struck him out, 2 down. Ken Rosenthal has some news about the ALCS.
Interesting development, Joe. Chris Sale, who was hospitalized overnight for a stomach ailment after pitching Game 1, will not pitch Game 5. He is still weak, so they're going to push him back, hopefully get him back for Game 6. For Game 5, they've got a number of options: Eduardo Rodriguez, David Price, Joe Kelly.
All right, Kenny, thank you. We look ahead in this NLCS, and in Game 6, it'll be Wade Miley. He got the start in this one, faced one batter, walked him, came out for Woodruff against Hyunjin Ryu.
See, throwback. He's a throwback guy. He'll start back-to-back games.
More or less a decoy starting this game. Made Dave Roberts declare that lineup. It included the right-handed hitting Freeze. But their intention all along, even though it wasn't public, was to work Brandon Woodruff for the majority of the beginning of this game. Miley walked off after that leadoff walk. Here's a 1-1 to Kane, who has the only RBI for Milwaukee. It's strike 2. Two and two. Kershaw threw just under 100 pitches in this game. Because of those 2 runs scoring in the bottom of the 7th, it opened up a 4-run lead, and Dave Roberts was able to, I think, a little more easily take him out and go to the pen. You remember last year during the World Series, Kershaw blew 2 leads. That was in Game 5 in Houston, then came back and pitched 4 scoreless innings in Game 7 here against Houston 3 days after that start. He threw 94 pitches in that game, over 4 2/3. 3 days from now would be Game 7 of the NLCS. He's definitely in play.
Yeah. Definitely available, as pretty much everybody, depending on what happens in Game 6.
Kershaw had to chew on that Game 5 when he blew leads of 4-0 and 7-4. And the Dodgers came back to LA hoping to win it in their home stadium and lost it in Game 7.
That's one of those games. I know you can't do it. One of those games, if they played that exact scenario 10 more times, you figure there's no chance that would happen to Kershaw, but it did in that one game.
2-2. Kane flies one into right center. Misread initially, but Bellinger recovers. And a 1-2-3-8. Good work by Baez. Still 5-1. Bottom of the 8th inning. And Zach Davies, who was just added to the active roster with the high ankle sprain by last night's starter Gio Gonzalez, takes over. 13 starts, a record of 2-7, and that inconsistency led to him being left off postseason rosters until today. Taylor, first pitch, hacking, pops it up. Handled by Shaw. One away. Hernan Perez is now over at shortstop with Shaw in the game at second. And he just made that play.
You know, that's the other interesting thing. We keep focusing on what Craig Counsell's approach has done to Dave Roberts' lineup, but you know, with the left-handed starters of the Dodgers, it kind of neutralizes Shaw, where there's a ton of power you're leaving on the bench, especially with his success against right-handed pitchers.
Yeah, he's just a good player. You're talking about somebody who hit 32 home runs during the regular season, and he has started the last couple games on the bench. First pitch, a strike to Puig, who delivered in the pinch, an RBI hit into center back in the 6th inning. Made it 3-1 at the time. Breaking ball fouled away, strike 2. Zach Davies battled injury during the 2018 regular season. 11-game winner in 2016. 17-game winner a year ago. Another good young arm, as this one is a cue shot that is a foul ball just on the other side of the line as it got to the bag for strike 2.
Got a feeling Zach Davies gets carded a lot.
There's so many different ways you could have ended that sentence, and that would have been my last pick.
He's going to look young for quite some time, and probably pretty glad he's getting to check into the postseason.
Kind of got a little bit of a Walker Buehler look to him. Here's an 0-2. That rides up and in. So again, Davies stayed active as he worked to live hitters during batting practice, a live BP session before this last round of the playoffs, as the Brewers had that layoff after a quick, dominant 3-game sweep over Colorado in the division series. 1-2 now. Puig was going to pick that up. It popped up into the air, so he just kicked it over the backboard. There's a 2-2. That's into right center field, and Puig has his second hit of the game. He's going to try for 2 and make it. Puig with a hustling double.
This shows you how fast he is when he makes up his mind, and certainly not a lot of players would have been able to get in there. And you knew Kane knew what was going on, but that hop, see that hop just kind of deadened. Puig slides in.
He can confound at times, and he can excite. And there's not a Dodger fan that hasn't been thrilled by Yasiel Puig since he broke in back in 2013 at some point or another. Austin Barnes now with a runner at second, 1 out. Austin with one of the biggest hits of this series so far. Shadows had engulfed home plate. Pitcher was in the sunshine. Brandon Woodruff was rolling. But Barnes delivered with a hit to center. We'll show you in a second.
Definitely a momentum changer, and the Dodgers have responded ever since. 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th.
Davies trying to keep this a 5-1 game. Runner at second, 1 out. Puig with a huge lead. 2-1 on the hitter Barnes. In the 9th inning, Milwaukee will have the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Yelich, Braun, Aguilar. Two, 1. 3 balls and a strike. Matt Kemp is in the on-deck circle. He will hit for Baez, it appears. The Dodgers have Caleb Ferguson, the left-hander, getting loose. Full count.
Well, at some point this series was going to take a turn.
This game took a big turn right here, with Roberts talking to Kershaw and Puig in the on-deck circle. The man at the plate right now, Austin Barnes, delivered the dynamic play of the game presented by Hankook Tire. That not only tied the game, but I think as importantly for the Dodgers, kept Clayton Kershaw on the mound.
Yeah, and he was ended in fine fashion, retiring the last 13, right? Last 13 batters he retired.
That's right. 3-2 to Barnes is fouled away.
Beauty of a 7-game series is you just absolutely never know for each team when that moment's going to happen. And now for Milwaukee, if Milwaukee is not able to come back here in the 9th, they're looking for that momentum turn starting in Game 6 in their home crowd. And I'm pretty sure that when this season started, they would have signed up. They would have signed up for 3-2 deficit, going home with home field advantage in their home crowd with the opportunity to move on to the World Series. Signed up, sealed, delivered, and we'll take our chances.
No doubt. Puig is running, a strikeout at the plate, and a good job by Moustakas to save a wild throw. And Kratz is saying that he was interfered with by Barnes. Let's take another look.
Well, he makes the swing. And Kratz is saying after the swing, he kind of backed up and got in my view, right? Look right here. He swings and follows through.
Definitely glanced the glove of Kratz. Now Counsell is out. But now he's going to ask for help from the other umpires. And this is something that umpires in the game of baseball went to I don't know, within the last 10 years where umpires are a lot more willing to ask for help if somebody saw something. But Kratz took a big step back and then had his momentum going to third on that throw. It definitely was contact. Does it fall into the category of being interfered with?
Well, I just like the way that they've been encouraged to talk about it.
And they're going to send Yasiel Puig back to second, and that's going to bring Dave Roberts out. It's a dead ball when you make contact. And somebody, one of these other umpires, saw the contact, and that's being explained now to Dave Roberts, who, by the way, this is the 14th anniversary of one of the biggest stolen bases in the history of postseason play. Here's another look, just that little glance, and Kratz argued immediately. But he had no shot at Puig.
Now the question's going to be with 2 outs. Do you think Puig is going to re-steal third base? I think he's going to try. I do.
You do?
I do.
Well, you never know what he's thinking out there as Matt Kemp will dig in. Dave Roberts stole second base in the 9th inning in 2004 in the ALCS with Mariano Rivera on the mound. Game 4. Yankees up 3-0. He just got his hand in there prior to the tag. Bill Miller tied the game. Red Sox won that game in the 12th. You know the rest of the story. They won the next 3 games and then blew through St. Louis 4 straight to win their first World Championship in 86 years. And that left arm of Dave Roberts and the legs of the Dodger manager, the reason why they got a chance to become the first team to come back from down 3-0 to win a postseason series in baseball.
Yeah, pretty amazing. The events that took place after that.
1 ball, 1 strike. It was Fox Sports' own David Ortiz that hit a home run in the 12th inning that won that game, by the way. 5-hour, 2-minute game. Ortiz with a 14th inning single won game 5. Red Sox won game 6 and 7 at Yankee Stadium. 1-1 to Kemp, strike 2. "14 years ago tonight, and the Boston Red Sox are up 2-1 in their series in the ALCS in 2018 with Houston. A 1-2. Left side from the hole. Perez with a long throw, and what a play by Aguilar to save a run. So the big bats are coming up for the Brewers. Davies keeps it a 5-1 game. Into the 9th we go. Here comes Ferguson. Caleb Ferguson takes over, third pitcher of the game for the Dodgers. First up is Christian Yelich. Ninth inning, 5-1 LA, trying to go up 3-2. There are the numbers for Ferguson. Tough play. Muncy feeds Ferguson for the out. They worked on that toward the end of February. Pitcher fielding his position. Well done by Muncy and Ferguson, and that's going to be it for the left-hander. He was in there to get Yelich, and Yelich has at least one more game to remind the world how great of a hitter he is. But when he steps to the plate in Game 6, he'll be 3 for 20 in this NLCS with no RBIs. Ferguson gets the only man he faces after 2 pitches. Here comes Ryan Madson. Hey Google, where was Ryan Braun born?
Ryan Braun was born in Mission Hills, California.
An area of the San Fernando Valley, 22 miles northwest of here. Attended Granada Hills, next door to Mission Hills. That's where Braun played high school. One pitch from Madsen. Machado gets the out. And the Brewers are down to their final out here in Game 5.
Mr. Madsen has been invaluable for the Dodgers. Some big moments he's gotten out of, big innings that could have turned had he not pitched the way he has been pitching. And of course here just trying to close it out.
Bats are going to have to wake back up for Milwaukee. Over the last 2 games, 11 of 74, 25 strikeouts, 2 runs scoring. And 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. And Madsen can still rush it up there at 97 miles per hour. Out of the game for 3 years. Injuries drove him away. He got healthy. He's back. Look at him now. Grounder fair past the diving Turner down the line. And Aguilar will dig for second with a 2-out double. So the game continues, and the batter will be Perez with 2 out.
Breaking ball down the line, just out of the reach of Turner. Here, regardless of how this game ends, it's going to be a lot of fun in Milwaukee. They have been hungry. for a while to see their team with a chance.
Anderson will hit. Yeah, the Brewers came into this LCS, first one since 2011. And they are trying to get back to the World Series. Second time in franchise history and the first time since 1982. Harvey Keene, the manager. Norman Thomas was kind of the poster. I'm going to say poster man, not poster boy, for Harvey's Wallbangers. That was a fun team to watch. They came up just short in 7 games, losing to the Cardinals. Anderson takes a strike without looking at your scorebook. And I know you don't have one, John.
I have a paper, one paper.
Over these 3 games in LA to this point, right here, right now, how many home runs have been hit?
Oh, man, less than 2, I'm going to say.
Okay, good. 1. Arcia has it. That drives Granderson off the plate, 2-1. And these are 2 teams that can pound the baseball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you sit here and you go, okay, the pitching's been unbelievable. Has the hitters gone in a funk because of the pitchers, or is it more on the pitchers? I think in this case, the pitchers have not given many mistakes to the hitters.
That's strike 2, 2-2. To 1 ball game. Madsen with a 2-2 inside with Aguilar taking third base. Fielder's indifference, no stolen base credited, and the count is full on Curtis Granderson. Brewers need 2 more base runners to have a chance. Because of that, Kenley Jansen has to get loose. 3-2 pitch from Madsen. Granderson into right center. Can't get to it. Up against the wall, and Granderson has delivered his first successful pinch hitting appearance this postseason.
That slide had to be costly for Granderson. I think his helmet came back up and popped him in the face.
Hey! And he's going to require attention because of that. The batter will be Moustakas. And if he gets on, the tying run would bat. And that came up and caught him under the chin. Back-to-back 2-out doubles. And Kenley Jansen's going to come in and try and end it. Brewers going to try and extend it. Still drama left in the 9th inning here in Game 5. We saw the helmet come up and catch Granderson. He lost a good portion of one of his front two teeth because of that. So now Kenley Jansen. This is a save chance for Jansen. He worked 2 innings last night through 34 pitches, and now to Moustakas. He fires a strike.
Much like the Dodgers, when they were trying to rally, you get a little momentum. The Milwaukee Brewers are trying to extend this as much as they can. Pass the baton on to the next guy offensively here with 2 outs in the ninth.
Moustakas gets on, the tying run bats. Strike 2. On deck is Eric Kratz. Manager Craig Counsell has already used Shaw, Santana, and Granderson off his bench.
Granderson can walk to third. There's nobody over there.
And he goes as Moustakas pops it foul out of play. Last night for the Dodgers, they went through everybody in their bullpen. The game ended with the 22-year-old Urias on the mound. He was good for 3, maybe 4 innings, and after him, if it went that far, it would have been Ryu. As they were talking to him. Instead, he'll get it in Game 6 against Wade Miley on Friday in Milwaukee. Jansen ready with the 0-2. Granderson to third, and a strikeout ends Game 5 as the Dodgers win it 5-2 and lead 3 games to 2.
Well, after an epic long game last night, quick turnaround, tight game, broken open late by the Dodgers offense, making contact, getting hits with runners in scoring position. Another stellar performance by their pitching staff.
Kershaw gets the win. 2-1 this postseason, 1-1 in this LCS, 9-8 in his postseason career. Brandon Woodruff pitched well but suffers the loss. 1-1. Jansen gets his 3rd save of the postseason, and the Dodgers and Brewers head to Milwaukee. LA up 3 games to 2. Glad you were with us today. Right now, let's get you to our studio for more baseball postseason coverage.